Morning. I'd like to invite you to the Committee of Whole for Protection of Person and Property. But first of all, we have two delegations, and I will pass it over to Mayor Rainwall for introductions.
Thank you very much, Councillor. First of all, as Bruce had mentioned, we have two delegations. One is Bonnie Schreier. Welcome, Bonnie. I heard you at County Council, and I just had to have you here so that people could really hear what you had to say. And so Bonnie's going to be talking about Parents Lifeline of Eastern Ontario, CLEO. And then the next presentation will be by Aaron Orr and Israr Ahmed, and about the asset management plan. So Bonnie, I'll hand it over to you and carry on, please. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation. The more we can let everybody in Renfrew County know that CLEO is here, right here for them in the county, from one end to the other. That's my goal. So again, thank you for inviting me. What I'd like to do is bring everybody through our website because it's been updated and it's very, very concise and very easy to follow. And in doing that, I'm going to explain what CLEO is. We were Parents Lifeline of Eastern Ontario. We are now across all of Ontario and even other parts of Canada as parents call with concerns over their loved one up to age 25 with any kind of mental health issue. We are there to take the call and to help them find the resources in their area the best we can. So a little history. I'm going to start sharing, if that's okay. And so when you press on CLEO, so pleo.on.ca, you will see our opening page, which we are parents with lived experience who are trained to support other parents who have a loved one, a child or somebody they're taking care of, up to age 25 with any kind of mental health issue. Those issues can be anything from substance abuse to behavioral to developmental to suicidal ideation, any kind of situation from 0, ADHD, autism, anywhere from 0 to 25. If a parent is struggling anyway at all, and they feel that they need to talk to somebody that understands it and gets it, that's why CLEO was created. And it was created 20 years ago. So I'm going on to the who we are. And so it started 20 years ago in the waiting room of CHEO's mental health department. And I'm not going to play videos and everything for you, but I want everybody to know that this is there for them. And so it was a parent who was very overwhelmed and stressed out and feeling very alone. As we know, mental health has come a long way. Unfortunately, though, there's still a lot of stigma related to for us as parents. You especially if you have been a teacher or you've worked with kids and you feel like you got this. You're pretty hands-on parents with supporting your kids and taking them to things and staying on top of things, and then boom, they get involved in drugs, they get involved in alcohol, or they start to break down mentally or whatever. And so when this mom was sitting in that waiting room, she was feeling pretty alone. And one of the other moms reached out to her and said, you know what, I've been down that rabbit hole quite a few times. We're still there, but I feel that maybe I know a few things, or I can help with a few resources to connect you to get the help you need. And that's basically where it started, her handing out her phone number out of her kitchen 20 years ago. And that's where we have 3 main services, and I'm going to go through that in a bit, but I think it's really important to know that our vision is right here. is that families facing mental health challenges can flourish stigma-free with the support and services they need. Our mission is to foster positive outcomes for families with children up to age 25 facing mental health challenges, providing family peer support, and by amplifying the family voice for system change. And that's where, thankfully, the parents' voices are being requested to be on different boards and different things, not just the professionals, but working with the professionals, but coming in with a very real perspective of what really is happening at home. As many of you may be aware, that often our loved one, and it may not just be a child, it can be maybe an elderly parent, or it could be anybody that we are supporting, and bring them to the doctors, and the doctor says, you know, what's going on? And they're like, I don't know, I don't even know why I'm here, and da da da. So when that family voice is not included, many things get swept under the carpet or just not dealt with, and rightfully so. I mean, they can't help you if they don't know what's really happening. So now we're the voice of the parents that live with the loved one can now give their perspective. They can now say, this is what we're seeing. And that changes a lot of the direction of where the help and resources are going to come from. So our team, we're people just like most parents who have or are still walking with our loved one, getting the help they need and supporting them to be well and to be the best that they can. We are partners with many wonderful organizations locally, Robbie Dean, and there's our team right there, and our board of directors, and our roots. That's Phyllis, one of the moms who was there in that waiting room. She's one of the moms who's helped start Clio and still involved. And so I think it's really important to know that we are part of the parent advisory, youth advisory group of the Ministry of Child and Youth Services. We are part of the Moving on Mental Health. I know it has Renfrew County, I can't remember the proper name that it changed to, but that's local as well. We're part of Suicide Prevention Network, the new Ottawa Valley, Ontario Health Team, CHEO, Royal, goodness, pretty much there's many different, the Phoenix, many different groups we are now networking with and working together to support a whole family. So how we do this, it's a little bit slow our internet's a little bit slow. It's coming. Okay, so who we are parents and helping our child, and we provide family peer support, and we do it through three main services. Okay, the number one is our parents helpline. That's where it started back 20 years ago, and we're still doing that Monday to Friday, 9 to 7. And in that time, if they're not answering calls, they will be constantly researching and connecting and calling and checking on certain things to see if it's still happening. You know, what's through different access points of where you can call and get information. They're always sending out new research or new documents to everybody, so everybody can be abreast of what's going on. There's no wait list, no fee, no paperwork. You can call and talk to a peer parent right away. Sometimes a parent is just calling to say, you know what, I know there's something in our area, but I can't remember what it's called, and I really need to get my child to this appointment or whatever. Or it could be a parent saying, this happens often, we just received a new diagnosis of my child is on the autism spectrum, and I just have a mountain of paperwork and I'm melting inside. I don't know what to do. So we can help them with that as well. Or a parent maybe their child has been deemed exceptional, for meaning exceptional, that they have exceptional needs. So they know they need more support than just, you know, maybe an EA coming in once in a while or whatever, but they now have to, you know, collect this paperwork. They have to bring it in, and they have to request a meeting with the principal, and sometimes when you go to these meetings, I have to say we've got a pretty awesome school board here. Both of them, actually 4 with our French as well. But what happens is when you have a lot of the professionals sitting around a table and you're sitting there, the only parent, it's very intimidating, no matter how, you know, approachable they are or whatever. It can be very overwhelming when you're trying to get the care you know your child needs in order to flourish. So we will go as a silent partner and sit with that parent at that table. Same with if there's a court thing going on involving where we don't advocate, we're not advocators, we are not counselors. However, we will meet with the parent beforehand to see what they're trying, what their request is, what it is they're looking to do or get support for their child. And we will write things down. We will take notes at the meeting. And then that way we can sort of, we're their silent partner, but we can show them sort of some things on the list that they may have forgotten within nerves of speaking. So that's our parents helpline, many different reasons. We are not crisis line. However, if a parent just has our line or our number, we will call. And if they are in crisis, we will call with them if they want the crisis line, or we will give them the crisis number for them to call themselves. We have done that at times too, when a child, unfortunately, is very violent, and the parents is in danger as well. And it's hard for them to get away to call or whatever, but they've got us on the line, or they text with one of our workers, and then they can call 911 on their behalf if that's what they're asking for. However, that, thank goodness, touch wood, that doesn't happen very often, but it has. So our number 2 main thing we do is our parent support group. They're confidential, judgment-free. We have 2 of my colleagues, we're family peer supporters. And we, before COVID, we met at the Robbie Dean Center. And that's where parents could come once a month, unload, share what they're going through. And again, I want to reiterate, we are not counselors. However, parents can share some of the connecting they've done. Maybe you know, everybody's on a different journey or a different part of their journey. And some can help other parents by saying, you know what really helped me when I went to this support group through the Sash Bear or Family Connections Ottawa or whatever it is. Or did you know that Renfrew County is going to be doing DBT skills for individuals who need the dialective behavioral therapy, some skills from that. So did you know about that? And that's how we help each other. It really is coming together and sharing what we know and what's helped and things that have kind of kept us afloat when we felt very alone and overwhelmed. Our third is what I was hired for through a Trillium grant 4.5 years ago, was to expand. It was mostly in Ottawa, but the Trillium grant was used to expand our one-on-one mobile service, also called individual support program, across the Champlain area. So we're West Champlain. I have a colleague who serves East Champlain. We have Lanark, City of Ottawa. We now have support groups in Thunder Bay, Sudbury, Toronto. Many of us are supporting parents who are in Southern Ontario. So the one-on-one mobile service, and this really, I think if there's anything I really want to I can't think of the word, press here, that you take away from my rambling on, is that the one-on-one mobile service that I was hired for, I cover Renfrew County. So when a parent say they've gone or they've called the helpline and that was okay or whatever, and say they're on a wait list for services that they're connected to, but it could be like 6 months or a year. And you know, the support group is good for that, but there's stuff going on right now and they really need help right now to manage. That's where, and this is really important, we can meet that parent one-on-one on their journey, where they're at, supporting their child, to see how we can help them. We will, you know, sort of break down the whole situation, where things changed in their life and what supports they've reached out to, and who are they still connected to, and then we can sort of do an echo chart to see what is still missing and what kind of personal supports. Are they somebody that has nobody in their family? And unfortunately, there's many people like that. Or are they somebody that has family around, but they don't want them to know because they're elderly parents. They don't want them to know that their child is suicidal or is whatever the situation is. So everybody has a different story. So we meet them one-on-one where they're at here in Renfrew County to sort of break down what's the greatest challenges and set a goal or two to overcoming that. So, and that's essentially what I'm hired for in the county. And I've just, as of several weeks ago, got to see my first person since everything closed down. I will come to them. They don't have to worry about trying to get into Pembroke or Petawawa or, you know, all the regular places. I've been very fortunate to meet parents in libraries throughout, in a private room, but in a public spot, in all the different areas. And once people realize who we are and what we do, they're very supportive of letting us meet that parent there. So what we do is we say, you know, up to 8 weeks for that service. However, there's some parents that just needed to unload. They just needed to know that they're not going crazy, that this, you know, there is hope and there's help. We just got to find the right one and get the right connection. And sometimes it comes down to where, like for myself, like I have to do some work too. It's not just, you know, always, you know, problem with our loved one with the mental health. Sometimes we need to do the work to learn more about how we're responding, how they are perceiving things in their mind, and how we can react to that without making things worse than they are. And that's what I've been learning and growing, my goodness, in the last 4.5 years like crazy. And I'm excited to be able to share some of these things because they've really helped me, to the point that my loved one said, you know, Mom, I am proud that, you know, that an older person like you can still learn and be willing to change the things you need to change too. So I do encourage that as well, to see where we can, you know, kind of meet in the middle. So that's where we are. Where to find us? Do I still have time, Tammy?
Yep, go ahead, Bonnie.
I'm okay. Okay. Where to find us? We're in your communities throughout Ontario, and of course now everything pretty much, we haven't gone back to in person yet. I'm waiting for the okay for that. But one group I want to point out, if you can see me here, Drop-in Smart Recovery. Smart Recovery is international. And one of my colleagues is very trained and versed in this, and she co-facilitates a Drop-in Smart Recovery group for friends and family. It is not for the loved one with the addictive behavior. It's for the friends and family. Now, our partner in this is from the Sandy Hill and Ottawa Medical Center, and they co-facilitate this group every Thursday from 7 till 8:30. And here's a Zoom link here. It's in blue. You press on that and boom, you're in on Thursday nights. We have support group for parents of children 13 to 25. Again, we're seeing a lot of the same a lot of similar things. And that's the beauty of the support groups. No story is too big or too little. Some parents think, oh boy, wow, that's really, wow, I can't believe that's happening to them. And oh, I hope my kid doesn't do that. And that's not what it's about. It's about that we all have something, we're there for a reason to support each other, and everybody has a story to tell, and everybody needs support and that's why they're there. They wouldn't have been brave enough to come. So the parents that come up to support groups are very brave. We have our drop-in support group for parents 0 to 12, little ones. And on the first Tuesday of the month, we have the ADHD, which seems to be many people, many children that are dealing with that. And that's for that. We have, these are closed groups so that we're partners with the four school boards in Sudbury, greater Sudbury area as well. We have bilingual as well. And so these are ones you register for. Okay. Cornwall, Embrun, Kemptville, Ottawa. There'll be one starting up again at Chio again. I can't say for sure when we'll be meeting in person, but these are all, all virtual right now. And right here, resources, really important. Supporting parents of suicidal youth. If there's anything you can take away, I'm pretty sure nowadays, back, a long time ago when we were in high school, it was very rare to hear of somebody taking their own life. Very unfortunately, there are many, and not just youth, older people too, but overall the suicide rate is just through the roof. With our partner, Suicide Prevention, we created Supporting Parents of Suicidal Youth, a documentary. It took a long time to create it. And in there, yeah, again, please don't just put it on your big screen TV for everybody to see. It's very, I'm losing my words today. I'm sorry. Very strong, very deep, and something you don't want to just have going without somebody being aware it's going to be on. So Mary Walsh from This Hour Has 22 Minutes, a Canadian actress. She is actually the one who introduces this, as it's very near to her heart. And what we have in that documentary, we have interviews with accessing services, with signs and awareness. We actually interviewed youth who have survived attempting suicide, as well as parents. And we have supporting parents of suicide, safety at home, communication. Again, this was created with Suicide Prevention, the experts, and the crisis action and things that can be done. So that's one of the resources I really wanted you to know was out there. Parents that have watched it found it very helpful, and it was like, wow, like that was good. I needed to see that. We have frequently asked questions and answers. We have crisis services, your resources. This is the other thing, and then I'll be done talking. Okay, information brochures. They're coming today by Purelator, so I will have the hard copies finally. Now that we're back in person, they've been going out like hotcakes. So information brochures, we have what is Pleo. It's a 1-page, and I believe on the other side is French, just who we are. What parents can do while waiting for mental health services. This is like fantastic. Things that maybe parents don't even know that they can do that. They think, oh, I shouldn't, or whatever. But there's some really very practical tips while you're waiting for services. And most people are like, it's like long waits. Navigating the school system was created with the Ottawa School Board. Things again, and helping your child get through while they have mental health challenges getting through the school system. And for you, parents, coping when your child is facing mental health challenges, like just everybody wants their child to be the best and experience all these great things. And when things change and things kind of creep in, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like the anxiety and the worry and fear we face, it can be just sickening. And so it's really important to again know that we are there for them. We get it. We've been there, we get it. And yeah, and that's where that's what PLEO is really essentially all about. The last 4.5 years, we are here in Renfrew County. If there is somebody that you know of that needs this kind of support, you can, and they don't really want to tell you a whole lot about it, you can just tell them about the website. They can go up here to the corner, make a referral, and here, boom, they're in. So they can say, I am a parent and would like PLEO to contact me. And all they do is they fill this in and what they like us to know, and then submit form, done. And if you are a professional working and supporting a family and they say, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I do. I guess I do want them to call me. I want to know if they know anything about this situation or this or whatever. If you have their permission, however you do it in your organization or wherever, you can do it. You just hit this here. I'm a service provider and I've received permission. And you go ahead, again, go to the bottom though, because you must hit submit. And within days, within a week now, they will get a call. And from there, they can decide. If they want more, they can ask for more. If they're in a really tough situation and they would like to work on a goal or two to actually dealing with things, they can ask for the mobile one-on-one or whatever. And if they're in Renfrew County, actually not so much even now that it's COVID, we get the referral in and we make the call and we meet up. So it's simple to access. It really is. They've simplified it. Here's a phone number up here, 1-855-775-7005. If you're in the Ottawa area, it's there. I think what was happening when we first started, a lot of people thought they saw the 1-800 number and they knew it was out of Ottawa. They didn't realize that we're here for them. Like we're here. We'll meet you in person if that's what you so choose. We will walk you through. We will go with you to meetings if that's what you wish. Whatever the parent's struggle is in supporting their child, we're there to help them. And that's basically what PLEO is. Any questions?
Great. Thank you very, very much for that presentation, Bonnie. Does council have any questions that you'd like to talk about? Anne?
Thank you. This is very relevant in our area, especially in the past few months or so. So if the very end of your presentation, you talked about how we can contact you if we are a parent.
Mm-hmm.
What about those? And then you gave a 1-800 number. So if I don't have access to a computer, I'm just not able to do that. Can I just do the registration or the initial step by calling the 1-800 number?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to have a referral at all. Sometimes some of our partners, as they're supporting somebody, they will just hand them the card or the pamphlet with the 1-800 number on there, and they can call at their own discretion. And yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? So, okay, well, Bonnie, I just wanted to thank you so much for providing us with this presentation. When you gave the presentation at County Council, I believe that was in June, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Wow, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
It really touched a lot of people. And the big thing is there was only one or two people in those council chambers that really knew about Pleo. And I thought this is such a wonderful organization that I wanted to make sure that you were able to provide that information to us here at the town of Laurentian Hills, because everybody needs it. And it's just, if we can reach out and help out one person, it'll be worth every bit of it. So from the town of Laurentian Hills, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for your delegation and for letting us know about the program that you have in place. So thank you.
Thank you. And I forgot, I don't want to forget to mention, I would hopefully know the answer for you.
Thank you. And I've already reached out to some other folks in the area who I knew would probably require some support. And I had a copy of the program that we received from the county. So I'm hoping that you will be receiving some calls on those.
Oh,
so thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So for our next presentation, I guess it'll be Aaron will be presenting to us the asset management plan. So Aaron, are you ready to rock and roll?
I am. I can share my screen.
Okay.
All right. We're able to just see the slideshow there.
Yes, we can see it.
Wonderful. All right. Good morning, everyone. I also want to thank Bonnie for her presentation and her work with such an impactful organization. It was a great thing to attend. So thank you, everyone, for having me. I am very excited to be here to present the Town of Laurentian Hills Asset Management Plan. My name is Erin Orr. I am an asset management specialist at PSB Citywide. I worked with your staff to develop a 115-page document that summarizes the state of the town's infrastructure, the current level of service, and your asset management strategies. So what I will be presenting today is really just a snapshot of a rather detailed document. Before I begin, I want to thank your staff for their significant support in the development of this plan. Without their efforts, this wouldn't have been possible. So to understand the plan, we need to first provide just a brief explanation of asset management. So asset management is all about the service you're providing through your infrastructure. These services bring your town to life. For example, your roads, culverts, and streetlights provide that integral transportation service. Now, the underground mains, manholes, and treatment plants, they all contribute to the water and wastewater services. The goal of asset management is to meet a required level of service in the most cost-effective manner through the management of assets for present and future consumers. This leads us to the concept of levels of service. So an asset management plan describes the town's asset management strategies, but it also defines the current level of service. The level of service is the main focus of the plan, but it's also the main focus of the Ontario regulation, which guides the development of the plan. This term can be defined as the coordinated activity of an organization to realize value from its assets. In other words, it's a balance between the cost to provide the service, the desired level of performance, and the risk that you're willing to tolerate. So on the next slide, we have a quick summary of the regulation which guides the municipal asset management programs in Ontario. So the asset management plan that we developed is required under OREG 588/17, titled Asset Management Planning for Municipal Infrastructure. There are several deadlines defined under this regulation. The first is in 2019. Every municipality in Ontario was required to adopt an asset management policy. The next two deadlines are this year and in 2024. So every municipality is required to adopt an asset management plan. The asset management plan must include the current level of service, a analysis of the asset inventory, the current performance of your assets, the life cycle activities and costs, and the impacts of growth. The difference between the two deadlines of 2022 and 2024 relate mostly to the categories of assets that have to be included. So the first plan required this year must include your core assets. Those are your roads, bridges, stormwater, wastewater, and water systems. The second iteration of the plan, due in 2024, must include core and non-core assets. Non-core assets typically include your buildings and facilities, vehicles, machinery and equipment, land improvement assets, and the like. For Laurentian Hills, we have a 2024 compliant AMP, so it includes both your core and non-core assets. Now, the next deadline, or the last deadline defined in the regulation, is in 2025. So in addition to renewing your asset management plan in that year, you must include the proposed level of service. So as you're defining what your current level of service is, the municipality will also need to define what their desired levels of services are and determine what kind of life cycle activities and costs are required to achieve those proposed levels. Luckily, we have several years ahead of us to plan for this version of the asset management plan. So let's turn to the plan that we have today. The data and information in this AMP is based on 2021 year end. The plan describes the current state of the infrastructure and the asset management practices. It also includes what changes can be made to improve the state of your infrastructure and practices, and what the town's financial capacity is to meet these long-term capital requirements. The asset categories that are included for your town are the road network, the water and wastewater network, buildings and facilities, vehicles, and machinery and equipment. The first slide here, we have the summary of your replacement cost. So the replacement cost is the sum total cost of replacing all of the assets that you own. So the town of Laurentian Hills has a total replacement value of $51.2 million. This is a replacement cost per household of $37,000 and per capita of around $18,000. So as you can see, the asset categories with the highest value are water and wastewater. Now, 49% of the inventory has replacement costs that are based on user-defined pricing. This means that nearly half of your inventory has accurate and up-to-date pricing. The other half is based on historical cost that has been inflated using user price index tables. So of course, these costs may not be entirely accurate and are subject to change as the prices of goods and materials change. The next slide we have here is a summary of the condition of your inventory. So this graph shows the condition of the inventory per asset category. Now we found that 29% of your inventory is in fair or better condition, and 46% of your inventory likely needs to be replaced in the next 10 years or so. However, I do want to highlight that these condition ratings are not likely reflecting the true condition of all of your assets. So the majority of your inventory is based on age. And this means that we do not know the true working condition of these assets. We simply have an assumption of the condition based on the current age and the expected useful life of your assets. Generally, what this graph does show is that you have an aging inventory. Like most other municipalities in Ontario, a lot of your assets are older and in need of repair or replacement in the near future. The information that is provided in this asset management plan and in your asset management software can support your staff in their efforts to assess risk and better prioritize capital projects. Now, the next slide, we have a look at your capital requirements. So the annual capital requirement is the amount of money that you would need to invest annually in order to replace failed assets on time. So your average annual requirement for the entire portfolio is $2.1 million. So in this graph, we have a lot of information all in one graph. The bars show the capital requirement in 5-year increments, and each asset category is then color-coded to allow you to see which assets make up the capital requirements in each bucket. So you may notice that there are some hikes in the years 2040 and 2060. These peaks are due in most part to the renewal of components of your water treatment plant. That is a high value asset. So of course it would be a lot of capital funding that's required to make any repairs or replacements. So it's important to note that these annual requirements are also not set in stone. They may change with the refinement of replacement costs, estimated useful lives, and condition assessments. Now, based on the information provided, we have a summary of the town's infrastructure spending deficit. So for the annual capital requirement, as previously stated, it is $2.1 million. For tax funded assets, that is $823,000. And for rate funded assets, that is $1.24 million. That is the money that is required annually in order to replace assets in a timely manner. The funding that is made available is around $492,000 for capital. That is $432,000 for tax funded assets and around $60,000 for rate funded assets. That results in a deficit of $1.6 million annually. So $391,000 of deficit for the tax funded assets and nearly 1.2 for the rate funded assets. So the tax funded assets are 53% funded and the rate funded assets are 5% funded. I want to just highlight that these figures are rather expected for a lot of municipalities in Ontario when it comes to the funding of capital budgets. So the annual requirement is, in this analysis, it does not include any operations or maintenance costs, nor does it include growth considerations. It is also very important to note that the analysis only includes sustainable funding sources to determine the funding that is available. So the sustainable funding sources in this analysis only include transfers from taxes and rates and transfers from the Canada Community Building Fund, previously called the Gas Tax Fund, and the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, or OCIF. So this means that there are no one-time grants or transfers that are included in this analysis. Now on the next slide, we use the information from the plan to provide a recommended financial strategy. So the recommendations are divided based on funding source. So all tax funded assets are combined and water and wastewater are viewed separately since they have unique rates that fund the network. For tax funded assets, we are looking at a 10-year period to achieve full funding. And for rate funded assets, we are looking at a 20-year period to achieve full funding. So by full funding, I mean that that's the amount of time that it would take to close the funding gap with the recommended increases. So for tax funded assets, we recommend a 1.1% increase annually. For the water network, we recommend an annual rate increase of 7.2%. And for wastewater, we recommend an annual rate increase of 4.3%. Again, I want to highlight that both sustainable and one-time grants and transfers will continue to be essential sources of revenue for investment in your capital infrastructure. Just because this plan only includes sustainable, it doesn't mean that those one-time grants aren't integral to your capital planning. And any adjustments that are made to your taxes and rates, they really should be supplemented with project prioritization and evaluation of your desired levels of service. And this plan should make that much easier to achieve. With that, we have reached the final slide of the presentation. So included in the asset management plan are several recommendations. Some are very specific to different asset categories, while others are broader to support the advancement of your asset management program. So it's important to note that your plan is a living document that requires consistent revision and update. The Ontario regulation, in fact, requires revision and update of the data on a 2-year basis. So we recommend that the town continue to gather and enhance their asset inventory. Some assets do require further componentization. We would like to emphasize the continuation of gathering assessed condition for all of your asset categories. As part of the next phase of this project, PSC Citywide is working with municipal staff to develop a condition assessment program that would be able to provide far more accurate condition assessments for your assets, likely increasing some of the assets that are seen as very poor and poor to a higher value since they're still in service. The next recommendation is to evaluate and update your life cycle strategies and replacement costs. So identifying some really helpful proactive life cycle strategies for all of your high value assets, evaluating the capacity to deliver those and the costs associated with them, and reviewing and continuously updating your replacement costs so that they're accurate and up to date. The last recommendation is to evaluate your levels of service. So continue collecting those levels of service metrics that we've already defined on a 2-year basis, and begin discussing what your proposed levels of service should be and how those can be included in your plan for 2025. Now, that is all I have for today. I want to thank you for your time and give you the opportunity to ask any questions to myself or your staff.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much, Aaron. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? Ann?
So you did, like the word I heard a lot in there is a lot of assumptions. And you did mention that one-time grants are not included. Do you have the capability, say, for water and sewer, when we do get a one-time grant, to just plug it in there and see the difference it makes in your recommended
Yep. So what we can do, working with your staff, is we can kind of define the deficit that is already included, and that is defined in the plan. And so what we recommend is a medium to long-term capital budget. That is one of the best ways to engage in proactive planning. So if you're able to plan out 10 years in advance and take a look at what kind of capital funding is required, you can then add any of those one-time grants that you were successful in receiving. So of course, when we are providing that recommendation of taxes and rates that need to be increased, that's because it's the only sustainable source that we are able to confidently increase. But we are very well aware, and the language is clear in the plan, that those one-time grants are integral to your capital planning. So it won't change the plan since it's just a snapshot in time, but it'll change the way your treasurers and your financial staff are working at developing your plans going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Aaron, I have one here. As with regards to the rate increases for general assets, we're looking at, I think it said 1.1%, and then for the annual increase for water 7.2 and wastewater 4.3 over like the 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
As the water and wastewater, is that based on the total population of the town of Laurentian Hills, or just the users of the water and sewer?
So it is not included any kind of growth for the future. It just includes the current rates that are coming in and the capital funding that is being pulled from those rates. So in most municipalities, we see that those rates go towards operations and maintenance, the majority of them. So what we were able to include in the strategy is just that amount that is being pulled towards capital. So something that can be done is to move different kinds of funding from maybe your taxes and other kind of transfers that go instead towards your water and sanitary systems instead for capital funding.
Okay, thank you very, very much. No further questions? Well, thank you very, very much, Aaron, for your presentation. And I know we will be talking about it later on in today's meeting. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Councillor Boucher, did you want to carry on with your committee report?
So we'll go back into my committee, call to order. Delegations or pecuniary interests, seeing none. Presentations, we had them. Fire Department's report from Kevin. Our chiefs, I have, great job on getting that grant, so we save us some money, buddy.
Well, we we got the grant, but the fire marshal also sent out a thing in the meantime that there was something like 400 and some $1,000 to be distributed amongst municipalities for the same thing. So we got one, we won't get it the other place, or we have no need for it, because what they do is they give you that grant. And I just asked for some books yesterday from the Fire Marshal's Public Safety Council if it could come out of that $5,000. Well, they're going to give them to me, but they're not supposed to. You're supposed to give them their whole order. Well, these books have a lifespan, like they're only good for a couple of years. So if they would take that $5,000 and spread it over the 5 years, it would be great. But you're getting it all in one lump sum, and some of it is actually waste. You have books that are redundant after a year and a half or so.
Thanks. The other one I got was I was invited to the fireman barbecue at Kevin's. So I met some new firemen, met the regular firemen, and I met a whole bunch of kids. There was lots of kids. Kevin even had a bouncy castle for the kids. So it was a good night. We had a barbecue. It was excellent. Thank you. Any other questions for Kevin? Mr. Remo or Jed? Mayor Remo.
Whoever. No, I just wanted to, I see you took some of your newer firefighters to NPD for part of their training with CNL. Everything went okay there?
Yes, everything went good. It's just a tour just to familiarize. Every year we're supposed to do a tour of NPD, and we haven't done them the last couple of years. But it's good to go into those places. Even myself, who've been in there dozens and dozens of times. You always pick up some little tidbit. So it's good if there's ever an incident there.
Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin. Good job. So move on to building department. Building inspector's report for the month of July and August. Any questions? I see the numbers are up. Other than that? Okay, we're going to move on to emergency preparedness. Mayor Reno.
Thank you, Chair. We were to have our a meeting on September the 9th, but it got deferred to October 14th as per CNL's request. So we'll be able to inform you of any updates in the October committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I got you. I have the police. Mayor Remo.
Nothing new to report other than the continuing initiative that's been carried on in the village, Chalk River. Try that again. Thank you. Nothing new to report other than the continuing mischief that's been carrying on in the village of Chalk River. A lot of graffiti going on, and we have been in contact with the OPP, along with the fire chief had mentioned that he had some discussions with the OPP also. So hopefully we can, just through persistence, it'll pay off, and hopefully that we can try to get some of this stuff sorted out. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Other business, I have none. Closed session, I have none. Adjournment at 10:59.
I'd like to call to order this committee of the whole for Public Works. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? None. There are no delegations or presentations. Roads, we have the Public Works Superintendent's report for July and August and proposed work schedule for the month of September. Any questions or comments? Mayor Reinwald.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering about the beaver dams with all these rain floods that we've been getting. Has it caused a lot of havoc on the roads, Scott, or been able to stay ahead of the game?
We've been staying ahead of it. We just had to break a few actually just yesterday, but it's been pretty good actually. We've been trapping a few, and it's been good.
Okay, streetlights. We have nothing for streetlights. Water and sewer. We have the Chalk River wastewater treatment plant quarterly operations report. Reporting for Q2 from Veolia. Any questions or comments on that? No. As usual, I mean, we look to the area where they have proposed alterations, extensions, and replacements. And I understand that everything that's in there that is, there are some updates on replacement pumps and that. So anything that is a safety issue or whatever is being dealt with. Okay. And we have Chalk River Drinking Water System Quarterly Operations Report for Q2 from Veolia. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, I'm just going to scroll down here. Okay, same thing. For health and safety issues, they seem to be the same things, and we're addressing them. Tammy, did you have anything to add to this?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Okay, waste sites, council member update. That would be me. We held a meeting on August 10th, and at that meeting, it was unanimously agreed that the coordinator's position that we had advertised will not be filled from the outside. We will be doing that work by our Laurentian Hills staff, which have been doing it for the past year and have done every time there's been a resignation or whatever. So that, like I said, it was unanimously agreed upon. And we will be having a meeting on September 28th for a presentation from our contractor. And we had also agreed that the contractor's contract would be renewed for another 10 years, I believe. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, airport, Mayor Reinwald.
Thank you, Chair. So we had a airport meeting on September the 15th of this year. And the main items discussed were Transport Canada did a emergency exercise planning situation at the Pemberton Area Airport. One of the things that they found is in the exercise, and usually after every exercise, there's a debriefing. That did not happen. So that has been rectified. And they're planning on having another emergency exercise later on this fall, just to stay in tune with Transport Canada being a certified airport. The place up in Cold Lake, Alberta, had offered the town, our Pemberton Area Airport Commission, a sweeper. The one that's at the airport now is completely done. This was donated and it was delivered right to the doorstep at no cost. So that was very, very nice. 2,100 kilometer trip one way. Just happened that there was transport heading this way with a load for something else, and they threw it on to help support it. So it saved us a tremendous amount of money. The fuel tanks now, they're installed, and they're fully operational as of last week. On the 14th, I believe it was, that they're up and operational. So everything is working well. Staff are very, very happy with the work. We're going to be doing a holdback for, I think, 30 days on, to ensure that everything is working properly, and that once everybody's happy, then they'll receive final payment. They're also looking for a grass cutter for the airport. The one that they have is in pretty bad shape. And I believe the town of Petawawa may be able to help them out there. So they were going to look into that. And financials, we still holding on. The bank balance is sitting at about 200K, and they have about 44K in investments, and about another 270K in the reserves, and 140K on project runway investments. So we're still in the red or in the black, but it's pretty close. One of the things that we received, and this municipality should be very much aware of, is we invited Garrison Petawawa to the Pemmican Area Airport about a month and a half ago to give them a really good overview of the, what the airport does. And actually, some of the commanders were not aware of some of the things that went on at the airport. And they were very, very pleased and impressed. So they ended up writing a letter. And it was actually the commander, Colonel Vass. And it says, as the commander of the garrison Petawawa, I'm pleased to express our support for the continued operation of the Pemmican Area Airport. The Pemmican Area Airport is the only certified airport between Carp and North Bay. The airport has a 5,000-foot runway to support both military and civilian aircraft, which plays a critical role in many provincial services such as air ambulance and forest fighting. Garrison Petawawa, located 6 kilometers from the airport, has infrastructure at the end of the runway, which supports many aspects of the Canadian Armed Forces. Additionally, the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command currently occupies a leased building on site. So, and I'll just skip through it. And then the last paragraph is, on behalf of Garrison Petawawa, I'd like to voice our support for the Pemmican Area Airport, as it is essential to the operational outputs of the CAF. Sincerely, JDV Vass, Colonel Commander. So that was a very, very nice letter that he had written. And we are taking that letter and we're moving it on to Mr. Yakubuski, and both to the provincial and to the federal governments in order to try to get some support for some funding. And that pretty well covered it in a nutshell.
Thank you. I've no other business, nothing for a closed session. I will adjourn at 11:07. Hi, Scott. I'd call to order the Committee of the Whole for Community and Social Services. Declarations of pecuniary interest, none. Delegations, presentations, none. Library, I don't have an update from Councillor Blimke, nor do I have one for recreation. Resource Center Nursery School, there is nothing there. Other business, request from Jeffrey Shepherd for permission to have a Christmas parade in Chalk River. So any comments or questions on this, Mayor Reinwald?
Thank you, Chair. The last parade that they had, they did a tour of all of the town of Chalk River, and including down across by Ottawa Street and Plant Road. For the most part, it worked out extremely well. There was they reached out to a lot more people, but the only thing I caution them on is just to be very sure of their turnarounds, because the last time they did it, they had some difficulty in turning in some areas because of just the sheer numbers of traffic that was out there. So that would the only thing that I would ask of them, to make sure that their turnarounds are good enough for them, because there was some places where they did actually have to back some of the equipment up and turn it, and there was some pretty large pieces of equipment there. But other than that, I'm definitely in support of it.
Okay, thank you. But if I look at the map that they've provided, looks like they're going to start in the Lions Hall parking lot, and they're going to make their way. But where they want to cross Highway 17 does not look to be at the set of lights. So, I mean, right? Yeah. So this is obviously, I know that they've been contacted by our staff to tell them that they must contact the OPP or the MTO for this, correct? Yeah. Yeah. But in principle, we support having a Christmas parade for sure. Okay. I believe that's all we need to do, Tammy?
They've asked for a donation towards candies.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we're good for that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever we do, we've done this before. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
I have one question. I know they end back up at the Lions Hall, but if they go by everybody's house, how many people go back to the Lions Hall and support that venue? Like if you can watch it from your house, are you going to go over to Lancel?
I believe the candies would be along the,
No,
Oh,
I'm not
you know
worried about
what? No.
candies. And so usually we used to go into Lancel and everybody met there. People
Yeah.
won't be meeting there because they can watch it from home, right? I'm just wondering how it affects the Lancel. Just a thought. I support the parade. I think it's a great idea.
I'm just looking at the map again. Yeah. I don't have that answer.
No, I don't.
Mayor,
Just a question.
Mayor Reinwald.
Yes, I was at the last parade, and I'm just trying to remember back as to if there was any positive or negative effects there, and I don't recall anything as far as if there's any negative effects. But it's something that might be worth noting, you know, to the people who are putting this together, just or even if it's just going to be a meeting place, you know, a starting point and a drop-off point. Maybe the Lions Club hall will not even be open. I don't know, but it'd be something maybe worth asking the individual. Thank you.
Yeah, so, you know, you mentioned about a turnaround, Mayor, and I'm looking at when they go down the Plant Road. It looks like they're planning to turn around in the CNL parking lot. Or that, no, it's not the CNL parking lot. It would be, pardon? Well, just past the trailer park, but they're going on like a turnaround to on the left-hand side. I don't see where that is. Mayor Reinwald.
Thank you, Chair. I think what I'd do is Tammy, if you don't mind, to ask the individuals to try to streamline their routes as much as possible, with, you know, especially with ease of turnaround, because it was a real issue at the last one. So the ease of turning, because it's some pretty big, you got fire trucks, you got company trucks, large company trucks that are part of it. And it's very important that they have easement of turn. According to the diagram here, you can't tell. And so it would just get confirmation if I'd suggest.
Okay, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I'm seeing that they do have a written itinerary, and they end up at the turnaround at the United Steelworkers building parking lot. So, but yes, I think it needs to be, it's a lot of equipment. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you. The second item under business is a request from the Valley Hitching Post Ranch, formerly Richard's View Stables, for the use of the town parking lot for their third annual Spook Walk, which is, I'm so glad that they're doing this. This is it's really good for our community. Yeah, it's fun, well done. So as in the past, we provide the parking lot here. And I know that last year Scott made sure that the lights were all working and things like that, because they are here at night. I don't believe there's anything more that we need to do. No, but we certainly support this. Mayor Reinwald.
Yeah, I certainly support this 100%. I was at the ones that I was at. I was also doing a bit of volunteering while I was here, and the people they're very, very happy with this whole program, and the people get out and they get to do a lot of walking and get to see lots of haunted things. And the parking portion of it was excellent, as long as I think both Public Works and the fire department have to be ensured that they have access and egress to their buildings. I think that was the main thing, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure there'll be pylons out for that.
Yes, yeah.
But definitely in favor.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing for closed session. I will adjourn at 11:15. Microphone. Your mic.
I'd like to call to order the committee of the whole for finance and personnel. Declaration of pecuniary interest, being none. Delegations and presentations, none. We've had those earlier today. Administration, none. Financial, comparison to budget as of September 7th. Looks like we're in pretty good shape if anyone has any questions on that. Okay, being none. Staff training, personal issues, being none. Other business, none. Closed sessions, none. And adjournment at 11:16. And on that, I'd like to take a 10-minute break before we move into council. Well, good morning, everyone, and I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of council this Wednesday, 21st of September, 2022 at 11:28 a.m. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interests? Seeing none. Delegations and presentations. We had seen no presentations at this morning's committee meetings, and very well done by both. Next item is adoption of minutes. So moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved, the minutes of the special meeting of council of the 20th of July, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Any discussions? All in favor? And carried. Next item, moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved, the minutes of the regular meeting of council, the 20th of July, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Discussions? All in favor? And carried. Next item is the standing committee reports. Moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Ann Giardini, be hereby resolved the minutes of the meeting of the committee of the whole for the protection of persons and property of the 20th of July, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Discussions? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved the minutes of the meeting of the committee of the whole for public works the 20th of July, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Discussions? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved the minutes of the meeting of the committee of the whole for finance and personnel of the 20th of July, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Discussions? All in favor? And carried. Business arising out of previous meetings, none. Other reports. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved that this council does acknowledge receipt of the Chalk River Wastewater Treatment Plant Q2 quarterly operations report from Viola Water Canada. Any discussions around that? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher, be it hereby resolved that this council does acknowledge receipt of the Chalk River Drinking Water System Q2 quarterly operation report from Viola Water Canada. Any discussions? All in favor? And carried. Next item is mayor's update. Just have to give me a second to, oh, where did I put it? So for the month of September, I attended only 4 sessions, including today's. September 12th, county was at development and property meeting. September 13th was community services. September 15th was at the Airport Commission meeting, which I discussed during the our committee reports. And my next meeting will be on the 28th at be our county council. And Deputy Mayor Ann Giardini, do you have some items you wish to add to the report?
Yes, Councillor Blumke and I were at the Chalk River Legion for the on Monday for the service for the Queen. It was very well done. The weather wasn't that cooperative, a little bit of misty rain. But I do want to note that St. Anthony's School was there, all the students, and they were so well behaved. It was just so nice. They were all very quiet, and you know, some of them had umbrellas and their hoods up. It was a well done service, and then they had snacks upstairs after. It was good. That was it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Back to bylaws. Moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Ann Giardini. Be it hereby resolved that bylaw number 2522 being a bylaw to make the provisions of section 41 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, CP 13, applicable to lands within the town of Laurentian Hills be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Any discussions on that? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved that bylaw number 2622 being a bylaw to authorize the signing of a funding agreement between the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and the Corporation of the Town of Laurentian Hills for a municipal asset management program grant do now be read first, second, and third time and passed. Any discussions? All in favor? And carried. Make you happy, Tammy? Great. Next item is approval of accounts. Moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved that this county does acknowledge receipt of the unaudited statement of revenues and expenses as compared to budget as of 7th of September 2022. Any discussions? All in favor? And carried. Next item, petitions, being none. Correspondence. Action items, moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be hereby resolved that the resolution from the Township of Greater Madawaska regarding the Electoral Boundaries Act for redistribution of federal electoral districts be filed or endorsed. Discussions? Ann?
I wish there was something that you could say totally dead against. So file, please.
Bruce? File?
What I don't understand is we're trying to cut up Renfrew County.
That's exactly,
We're keeping Renfrew County together.
yeah, this was basically trying to keep the Redford County together. I
won't endorse this.
I think you want to file it.
Oh, sorry. I'm wrong. Yes, I want to endorse this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So just for your information, it was late last week that I forwarded an email to Sherry. I was hoping to get in the package, but I guess it was too late. The warden has written a letter to Ford and also to Trudeau that they're very concerned about this and that the county wants absolutely nothing, no part of it. And because it cuts off, more income to, to the whole community. And so anyways, I just wanted to let you know about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So file or endorse?
Endorse.
Endorse.
Endorse? All in favor? Carried. Okay, next item, moved by Ann Giardini, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved the resolution from the town of Kingsville regarding opposition to Bill 3 Strong Mayor's Building Homes Act be filed or endorsed. Discussions. And
So I endorse the opposition. I endorse the opposition, even though it's received royal assent.
Yeah. All in favor of endorsing the opposition? Carried. I agree 100%. Next item, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Ann Giardini. Be hereby resolved that the resolution from the municipality of Huron Shores requesting that the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs review the administration of the Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation Program be filed or endorsed. Any comments on that one? Yeah.
So I understand that they want the $50 fee to be looked at so that they could get more money to
Yes.
cover their costs. Okay, so I would endorse this.
Bruce?
File for me.
Okay. Although it has no not much bearing here at Laurentian Hills. I do know that there, especially in the farm areas, there's a bigger concern there. So I would be willing to endorse it at this point in time. So all in favor to file or endorse? 2-1, okay, endorse it is. Next item, moved by Andrew, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved, the resolution from the town of South Bruce Peninsula requesting the Premier of Ontario to address the physician shortages in Ontario be filed or endorsed.
I endorse this.
I endorse this also.
Endorse. All in favor of endorsing? Carried. Next item, moved by Andrew, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved, the resolution from the city of Brantford regarding the release of all federal and provincial documents related to the former Mohawk Institute residential school be filed or endorsed. Discussions?
I endorse this.
I'm in favor of endorsing it also. Bruce? Okay. Show of hands for, okay, great. Thank you. Endorsed. Next item, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Andrew Deeney. Be hereby resolved that the resolution from the municipality of Brighton regarding change to the access rules to Healthcare Connect system for Canadian Forces members be filed or endorsed. Any discussions?
I'm endorsing.
Endorse.
All in favor of endorsing? Carried. I agree with it 100%. I don't know why there's such a gap between being in the reserves and then all of a sudden moving over to the civilian side, and there's such a time gap. Okay, next is information items, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Andrew Deeney. Be it hereby resolved that all items of correspondence be filed. Any discussions on that? All in favor? And carried. Next item, unfinished business. Resolution here moved by Andrew Deeney, seconded by Bruce Boucher. Be it hereby resolved that this council of the town of Laurentian Hills accepts the asset management plan as presented by PSD citywide. Any further discussions on it? All in favor? And carried. Is there anything you'd like to add? No? Okay. So that's just the next step in the process. Okay, thank you. New business, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Andrew Deeney. Be it hereby resolved, this council of the town of Laurentian Hills accepts the accessibility status report for the year 2021. All in favor? And carried. Next item, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Andrew Deeney. Be it hereby resolved, this council of the town of Laurentian Hills approves the deletion of instrument number R427474 being a bylaw 88-18 permitting an encroachment on Albert Street from pin 57627-0002 LT and pin 57627-0005 LT at no cost to the town of Laurentian Hills. Any discussions? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Andrew Deeney. Be it hereby resolved, this council of the town of Laurentian Hills approves the deletion of the registered site plan control agreement on the conveyed severed portion of part lot 39, range B in the geographic township of Rolfe, designated as parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of plan 49R-20074 at no cost to the town. discussions on that? All in favor? And carried. Moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Ann Giardini, be it hereby resolved that the request from Jonah Maves for the town to provide property and to assist with the opening of a rifle range facility be approved or declined. And discussions on that.
I'm in favor of declining.
Me as well.
That's 2 or 3, all in favor of decline? And carried. And actually, we don't have any property to speak of in order to do something like this, nor there's a liability and responsibility there that I don't think we should be, that we should be accepting on behalf of a private place. Where are we at now? We're on closed sessions, being none. Motions and notice of motions. Being none, confirmatory bylaw. Be hereby resolved that bylaw number 2722, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the town of Laurentian Hills meeting of council held on September 21st, 2022, do now be read first, second, third, and passed. All in favor? And carried. And adjournment, moved by Bruce Boucher, seconded by Ann Giardini. Be it hereby resolved that this meeting of the council of the town of Laurentian Hills do now adjourn at 11:45 a.m. All in favor? And carried.